I've been building museums in Two Point Museum.
Hey.
Oh boy. If I would be lying if this isn't in my top 3 at the end of the year, this year is wild because I'm having a blast. Two Point Museum, third game in the Two Point series, published by Sega. This is a la City Builder, a la Roller Coaster Tycoon, a la smaller scale management sims. You're not doing whole cities. You are particularly doing up to 3, 4, 5 buildings at a time, placing exhibits, placing staffing for the exhibits you have, uh, hearing the guest requests as far as happiness and needs and wants, and they need more food, price is too high, stuff like that. Very bare bones to get in. Well, it's a goofy time, and that's one of the things that got me into Two Point. I mentioned before, Two Point Hospital, the first one, I didn't quite get into. It was way more micro-y as far as managing things and what you needed to look out for. Whereas Two Point Campus came out in Game Pass, which is where I gave it a try. Week later, I had that game 100%ed. I became severely addicted, having a great time. Um, and jumping into Two Point Museum now, I was kind of worried at first. It upfront gave me more hospital vibes than campus. It was a lot more micromanagey as far as money and where you're getting exhibits from and stuff like that. But as it unfolds, it in my head clicks together more. I would say as managing experience, it is more intense than campus was. This campus was very much here's your new school, here's your theme for it, whether it be night school, wizard school, astronaut school, and you stick with that until you're ready to move on to the next one. Where this one, you are jumping back and forth between multiple museums at the same time. Whereas the first one's basic fossils, dinosaur fossils, ancient history stuff. Then you go to either an aquarium one where you're out getting different types of fish, or a haunted mansion where you're literally collecting ghosts and building them little apartments essentially. But then it unfolds to, oh, I have spooky dinosaur bones or like a caveman spirit you need to bring in from the haunted museum to your other museum, or just a lot of cross progression like that. So it's a lot of jumping between multiples, like I said, which can feel overbearing at times. Um, I feel a couple of mine I have severely neglected, and they're way further behind than the rest as far as progression and what I have money wise saved up. But it's just fun time. You are hiring experts in whatever field it is. So if you have prehistory experts, you send them out. You have a little helicopter pad at your museum, whole map of different POIs, different locations to get exhibits from that are predetermined. So if you go to this one, you're for sure going to get one of these 4 things or whatever. So you can kind of zone in on what you want to collect and showcase off. Send them out on things. They're gone for X amount of time, either get illness or disease, or they come back clear, or whatever it is. I've had a couple people die. RIP. Your memories will not be forgotten. Thank you for the sacrifice to my museums and my patrons. But it's just great. I mentioned to you before we started. I started last night at like 11, and next time I looked at the clock, it was 3 a.m. Like time just goes. It's, oh, I need to get my buzz rating, which is kind of like the hype level for each of your exhibits or your museum. I got to get this higher. But to get that, I need to get a janitor to level 6 to take on this expedition to open up this new part of the map. But to do that, I need to get this certain fish from this other tropical museum and bring it on over. And just so many different pieces going. It's your head's constantly spinning a million miles a second. Um, Background music is fantastic. It's got super poppy elevator music essentially with kind of radio broadcasts going in and out between establishing these other characters and brands from the past 2 games as existing in this world still and what they're doing, and they're coming. um the president of one of the schools from the second game is coming to visit your museum in a month and he likes this specific type of thing, so bring those in. So it adds a cohesive 2-point world essentially, which is a weird thing to say because you don't actually really get to know any of these people. They're just walking about and they get hit over the head by a plant that has a hammer as a uh antenna. It's just weird, goofy shit. They did
Yeah.
add this time around uh challenge modes that are happening at the same time as your museums. So when you go to your museum map, there'll be the ones you have unlocked, and then certain locations you can go to where it'll be, hey, you have 1,000 days to get this objective done, but you don't have these resources, which I found was really cool. The first one you get takes place on like uh just a general desert area, but it's based off of like an in-universe movie studio that's been around for forever. And you're going out on exhibitions to locations from the movie to bring back the actual relics. But you have set days. You start with no staff, so you're leveling staff up from the bottom up. And it's hard. I've done 3 so far, and I've gotten to bronze on every one. I've not gotten higher because it is extremely challenging on what they want. But it adds a different wrench where, oh, usually you can just buy a staff member you need or put out a job application for the specific specialty you're looking for, or take out a bank loan or something if you need money. This, you are very locked into, hey, figure it out with the resources you have in this pre-established building they gave you. But I'm curious to see how that pans out later on, because it's required to a point where it's like, hey, just get a trophy in this. Doesn't matter if you get a gold, silver, bronze, just try it. Give it a try, and then you'll get your next sort of main mission to get a 3-star museum or whatever it is. So it wants you to explore these new things they added without making you feel like you failed. Because it is, oh, I come back in 10 hours. I've got a bunch of stuff in my other ones, but I can't bring any of that over here. So it's very contained kind of micro experiences within that I've spent a lot more time in than I thought I was going to originally.
Nice.
2 point.
Yeah, I like these games. They like set this they feel like the backyard baseball franchise where it's the same style, the same humor, the same aesthetic, the same feel across just different things, baseball, basketball, football, whatever. Uh like the 2 point series, and you said something that I kind of now like don't remember the specific thing you said, but you kind of like joked to like, it's weird to say like the 2 point universe, but like 100% there
Yeah.
is. I was like, oh no, there is this universe. Like there is a consistent thing across them, and I'm excited to see what the next one is already because you kind of figure there might be something else they're doing. It's interesting you described it as like a little more intense than the other ones because I bought 2 point uh, campus. It was like $3 on Xbox. It was on sale or something, really cheap. So I bought that and I jumped back into it because I played it when it was on Game Pass a while ago, or whenever it first came out. And like it felt chaotic, and that was probably me jumping right back into where I was, as opposed to seeing what starting over and relearning again. But it did remind me like they just felt like it was like a timer, like it's always going, which is the type of game I'm more down to, like have the game be paused, put my roads down, zone the districts, carve out a little area for a park, a little more chill. So it's interesting that you said it's a little more intense this time, because for me, I think that's something that I don't find as much fun within 2 point campus, at least.
Yeah, and it's intense, like I said, like with campus, like I said, it's the schools are very focused on what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this, just the base idea of it being a museum where the ghost one, for example, you start out with just ghosts. You can hone in all your decor, all your staff, all of that is zoned in on that. And then you unlock the second building, and it's quickly like, oh, I need to start building aquariums, getting aquarium experts. So I need to start getting uh space and space experts in here and having multiple themed exhibits going. So that's where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I can't
Yeah.
just focus on, I have security guards where you now need, I have security guards specialized in A, B, C, and D, and enough to cover all of that. But to your point, they do have it is timer to a point. They do have the pause thing where you can go do all your buildings, pause the world, build everything, design it, then activate it again for things to start rolling. But even with the timer, it's not something that I've really had an issue with. I'm on like one of mine, I think I'm on year like 9 already because I just have it double speed 24/7 to get people out on missions faster and just getting money coming in. And there's no real downside to it. Like, you're not on a timer to get this main mission done. There may be some, like I said, someone's coming to visit, or this famous person's coming to visit. They like this. They're only here for a month. That stuff's timed. But as far as natural progression and getting a 1, 2, 3 star museum, getting your museum levels up, all that still just comes naturally. So the hecticness of it is just the different themes and making sure your numbers add up for everything and spreading your resources out between 6 different themed things and their needs and requirements, and not putting cavemen ghosts with night ghosts because they'll fight each other and kill each other again. Like,
Yep.
so, but it's great. If you're any sort of into Manor Lords like Kyle, or into City Skylines or Roller Coaster Tycoon like this, I would say this is an easy must play. The amount they have to offer already. Um, I have 6 museums opened, and I would say there's probably at least 3 more with different themes to unlock. So there's a lot.
Nice.
Like, it's content full. They did a couple DLC packs for the old ones that added other themes and storylines and stuff. So I'll be curious to see what that happens with those. But it's a solid thing. I'm happy I tried out Campus because this has become one of my favorite franchises, surprisingly. I would like to go back and check out Hospital at some point just to see if my views on that would now change after enjoying the last 2 so much and the changes they made in between. But that's for another time, not this year because there's too much going on this year.
Yeah. Mhm. Nice.
Uh,
Nice. Yeah. I'm excited to eventually like try it, not waiting for a Game Pass release, but if it's on sale maybe eventually, or if it does get into one of those sub services, it would be a instant try. But I just haven't landed on the franchise hot, but it seems universally like solid for what the game is. So good stuff there.
did great for my fantasy critic too. It was really awesome.